All right, what is going on, guys? Russia and North Korea just signed a massive deal. This is an agreement to defend each other. So we're going to talk about this right now, and of course, this is exactly what we thought was going to happen. We talked about this meeting that was about to go down, and we knew that this was the exact kind of turnout that we expected. But this is putting it in writing that they are now going to defend each other. So we'll get into that, and of course now folks are taking the view of this community as well. You'll start to see this in op-eds. As we called, now folks are saying that basically Xi is behind pretty much all of it, right? We'll talk about how Xi really is the boss of all of these guys. But first of all, Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed an agreement Wednesday that pledges mutual aid if either country faces aggression, a strategic pact that comes as both face escalating standoffs with the West. Details of the deal were not immediately clear, but it could mark the strongest connection between Moscow and Pyongyang since the end of the Cold War. Both leaders described it as a major upgrade of their relations, covering security, trade, investment, cultural, and humanitarian ties. Now, they actually have quite a deep history. Russia has backed up North Korea before, as well as the U.S. has backed up South Korea in their actual war between the two Koreas. That was a big thing. But before we get even deeper into that, I do want to remind you guys we're completely independent. Real quick, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/EMP. You can defend yourself against an EMP. You can put this in your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, home, generators, or pretty much anything else, and protect yourself against not only an electromagnetic pulse attack from an enemy, but also a Carrington-level event. If you want your car to run and get to bug out or get home to bug in, then you definitely want to have one of these in your car. It takes 10 minutes to put in. Again, code MARF will help us, and it will get you a $50 off discount per device. So back to this. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So, I mean, it's not over the last couple of years. I've said it a million times. I'm sure all of you have understood this, but when it was talked about that they were going to meet in person, it was like we actually talked about how Putin just met with Xi Jinping in person. When these leaders meet in person, they do it for a reason. They're actually doing it. They'll go into a secret room. They go into Faraday rooms. They talk secrets, and there's no chance of anything leaking out when they do it in person. Now, this is very public, but what they have actually discussed in private, we actually do not know. Not to mention, there's not that many details about what this pact actually says. Basically, that they're going to back each other up, which most could have already assumed, but now they have officially put it into writing. Dex, how do you think that this changes things as far as, I mean, obviously they already had each other's backs. They're doing a lot of financial stuff together, but now they're making it official and stating that they'll back each other up militarily.
Yeah, they're saying if either country faces quote-unquote aggression. So I think the key term here is how is that going to be defined? And we don't know. They haven't said. But we certainly have seen the rhetoric come out of North Korea as to go so far as to say actions and activities of the U.S., just, doing drills around them is considered aggression. We have seen them continuously use the word aggression and claim that the things that are happening to them is aggression. So the interesting point will be, will they continue to hold that, or will they take that terminology and use it the same as it relates to this pact? They also said that this is considered a major upgrade to their relationships. So meaning there's, obviously we don't know the details, but they claim that this is much greater than anything they've ever had before as far as an agreement between the two of them. So I don't know if this is going to necessarily change the tactics that the West uses to keep Kim at bay, but it might be interesting to see if Moscow joins in some of the tit for tat, especially around North Korea.
So Kim Jong-un, North Korea, I talked about this over the last couple of days, how I think that North Korea is going to be the trigger to a bigger weapon that's going to be, firing with China and Taiwan, with Iran and Israel, with, of course, all of the other Venezuela and Guyana, North Korea and South Korea, Russia and Ukraine, that this is all going to kick off at the same time. I see a bigger picture here, that they're all going to take their neighbors, they're all going to team up, and they're all going to try to dethrone the U.S. And this may have help from the people above them, all of the crazy oligarchs above them that are essentially switching up the system. I think that the very richest in the world have squeezed every single cent that they could and basically tore apart the entire economy, put everybody in debt, got as much as they could off of it before they have to go, hey, now we have to switch over to something else. In the meantime, destroying everybody else's wealth and destroying the planet's economy, and they're all going to start over and say, oh, now we're on this new thing. So no longer will it be the petrodollar, now it will be all electric and all of this, and the lithium buck or the battery buck. Who knows what it will be next? But this is not a good sign, and it's obviously, it's primed for war. They're all picking a side. They have their alliance. This is exactly what you would see put into writing before a actual war ends up happening. So we're calling it, and when it actually happens, people are going to go, oh, it's here. But by then, nobody's going to be arguing it. Nobody's going to be debating it. Right now, people don't believe it's coming. I see it coming from a million miles away. I honestly don't see how many people do. Now, this is kind of crazy. So I called it like the op-eds, especially you can see the pattern in the news and what they're about to say. I was just talking about this, how China is the true power in the Putin and Kim's budding friendship. That Xi, of course, in all of this, has made comments constantly that make it look like they're trying to be the good guy, but at the same time, they are helping. They're helping North Korea. They're sending all sorts of shipments to North Korea that are then going through and then to Russia. They know this because they've tracked the exact cargo boat going to North Korea, then going to Russia, and the weapons getting basically doled out during the conflict. So they are supporting Russia as the U.S. is supporting Ukraine. That is what many people think, and that is what they're showing as far as the sanctions against Russia should have worked a whole lot better. But essentially, this has turned into a proxy war. This is now a proxy war between the U.S. and China. That's the crazy part. But when it was us supporting Ukraine and Ukraine directly fighting Russia, people thought that was a big deal because they're thinking, this isn't a proxy. This is us supporting Ukraine and Ukraine attacking Russia. But it is a proxy war because Russia is actually getting funded by China. China has helped them basically curtail all of the sanctions, and China is getting prepared for their own war. I won't be surprised if we see almost the exact same kind of pact between China and them, and I know they're already no limits partners. I wonder in that visit where he just visited Xi, if they did secretly sign something that was a pact that they didn't announce. I don't know if they can do that, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if they had some top secret arrangement worked out already. Obviously, they already are no limits partners. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you, and also join us for our other show over on Marfoogle TV. We're going to go over the B-52s are getting loaded up with nukes right now as we speak. This is very, very strange that they're talking about not only adding B-52s, they're also talking about adding all sorts of older issued things into the next conflict. We've talked about this for a while. They're basically using anything they can get, and they're talking about a lot of nukes. So we'll cover all of that on the next show. So join us for that. If you want to watch that show, all you have to do if you're watching the replay is click here. We'll see you in just a second. And of course, if you just stay in the chat, you'll be there. Be safe, be prepared, and Marv out.